Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Chick Chat and Chill. I'm Antoinette, your host, and my co-host Laura is beside me, who will talk in a minute. But first, I just want to welcome you, and I'm excited. This week we're going to be talking about Valentine's Day, and I own a design company that works on global brands. So odds are all of you've probably held something I designed. And let me introduce Laura.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're listening to us, and soon to be happy Valentine's Day. I'm Laura Fickett, your co-host of this wonderful podcast. I'm a CPA, MBA, and a financial stress reduction coach. I love to help people make more money, manage it better, and retain it to build their wealth. So if you need any help, reach out to Fickett Financial Coaching, and I can assist you with a free consultation. But today, we have an awesome topic on Valentine's Day, and it is probably one of the most stressful holidays of the year. Wouldn't you say, Antoinette?
Oh, I definitely think so. And I think there's a lot of sometimes it can make or break a relationship. I think a lot of relationships actually end or people don't know how to handle stuff. It could be awkward if you push things a little too fast or you don't step up to the plate where you really should. So, I don't know. I'm trying to think what's the best way to kind of, you want to start with some maybe do's and don'ts?
Well, I think I'm going to play like the male point of view, which I know it is the probably really stressful for men because I feel like it's one of the only holidays where the pressure is on them to be a certain way and the expectations are so ambiguous that it's a lose-lose proposition for a lot of couples, right? So if they don't know what they should be doing or how they should be doing, it seems they always fall short for the holiday. And there's so much stress when the focus really is supposed to be celebrating love. So I think people really need to get back to the focus. What's the point? And for the guys that are listening, do you want to know what girls think? Because we're going to tell you. I personally, and I don't know how Antoinette feels, but I personally want a feeling on Valentine's Day. I definitely don't want chocolates this year. No sugar for me. But I want to feel appreciated and special. And I know that, my husband does a great job of trying to make me feel that way every day with affection and sometimes buying me flowers and things like that. But on that particular day, I just want to feel really special and appreciated and loved. And that's what I want. But then how do you create that feeling, right? What do
Yeah.
you want on Valentine's Day?
So true. And I think one of the biggest things is for guys, you gotta kind of man up a little bit. Like, don't ask her, what do you want to do? You really gotta plan it, you know?
Yeah.
So that means if we're going to a restaurant, you make reservations. And kind of like Laura said, you do want to give it a personal touch. This isn't a generic holiday where you just throw a generic gift or this. It's about something that the two of you created and making that special and doing stuff like that. So I think part of the problem is also just some of the things guys don't know what to give.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Laura mentioned chocolates, and some people love them. I'm not a fan either. If somebody gives me, especially those horrible, like those nasty tasting things, I mean, they're the worst
Are
possible
they,
chocolates that come in those boxes.
are they
You know,
really chocolate? I'm not even
I
sure.
don't even know. It's like made for compost, and let's throw chocolate on it, but and then name it something. I mean, half the time you bite into it, you're like, I don't even know what this is. You have to look at the like key on the back. Oh, it's supposed to be hazelnut, right?
It's true. So
You're
true.
like, what am I eating? It's garbage. So for the women that like chocolate, and if you know your female likes chocolate, then make sure it's something she enjoys, or step it up a little. Don't do the like 199 special at the discount store.
Oh,
um
and don't buy them your favorite chocolate.
no,
That is a
no.
definite no, 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 please don't do that.
But what I will say is, I think guys would appreciate chocolate more so than women,
Mm.
because the key to most guys' stomachs, I mean, hearts, is through their stomach.
Right.
So, that might not be the best gift for females, but I think most guys will enjoy that. Or also, if you make something homemade, guys really like homemade cookies, shape them in hearts, they'll really get a kick out of that. So I think,
I think predominantly the guys aren't disappointed on Valentine's Day, it's the women. And
yeah,
that's just been my overall take from my friends and the people that I've talked to. But I also think from talking to the younger generation that Valentine's Day is completely different. When I was younger and you were dating, courting, whatever you want to call it, on Valentine's Day, if you were working, there were flowers delivered to your location. And so, yeah, we forgot to shut our cell phones off. We're people, we're human. But there was flowers delivered, and so all the florists out there, like a pitch for them. Deliver flowers to your loved one. That's kind of a sweet thing. I know maybe it's going out of style, but I always thought that was amazing. This truck of flower deliveries, this whole line that would come to the office, and women would get flowers. I mean, and then if you didn't get flowers, it was kind of sad. But for men, the expectation is you're going to do something grandiose. And I know one of my favorite Valentine's Day. It was my first one with my husband, and he said to me, "What do you want for Valentine's Day?" And I said, "I want to swim somewhere in the salt water." Well, now we're in Massachusetts, New England in February. So this was a little challenging for him, but boy, did he come through. He booked a hotel. He searched all the hotels and found one that has saltwater pool. And he booked a hotel for that night and dinner reservations. And I thought, wow, he really listened. He put in the time, energy, and effort to go through and look for all these hotels. And now it's so easy. I mean, with the internet, so much easier than it was, over a decade ago. And he found a place for me to swim in salt water. Now, of course, my envisionment was the Caribbean, but I was so happy that he put so much thought and time and effort into that, and I really felt special, and I really felt appreciated. And so when you're listening to your loved one, your significant other, the person that you're dating, what do they really like? If they really like a special chocolate, then that's great. Maybe they like to read and they have a favorite author, or maybe they like to take walks on the beach or through the woods, or I was reading this book on love languages. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but there's different love languages for people. So some people prefer acts of, service. So maybe breakfast in bed and you put on an apron and clean the house. That might be a great Valentine's Day present for someone that values the acts of service. Or if they value, things and they've been coveting something, they want like a pair of sunglasses or a purse or something that they've been really trying to save up for, maybe alleviate the stress and buy that really something that they've wanted that they didn't get for the holidays. Or if their quality time is, their love language, then it might be something like take them to a theater show or take them to, and if you don't have the money, maybe even just planning a picnic in the woods or on the beach, something where you can spend quality time together. It doesn't have to cost a lot. So I think those are some really good ideas. What do you think?
oh, I think those are all really, really good. The main thing is making it personal to that person, and that, guys, that means like if her, wha- whatever, the vacuum broke, this is not the time to gift a vacuum cleaner. That's you know I mean, you gotta really really think about what they're saying. It should be a personal item, something that, ideally something that they'll keep next to them or use, and it'll make them think of you. Also, I just kind of want to circle back to some of these things. With a card, definitely get a
Mm-hmm.
card, and just don't sign your name to it. Write something in there. Signing your name at the bottom of two bears really doesn't mean a whole lot. If,
Or if you don't have money for a card because those things are getting expensive, write a little note,
yeah,
love
write a
letter.
note, something. I mean, it's those little things. It doesn't cost a lot of money to show that you put some kind of care into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I want to start back a little bit on what are some maybe do's and don'ts with
Yes.
newer couples versus stuff like that. So, first of all, I think if you're a guy and there's somebody you like, don't ask them out for a first date on Valentine's Day.
No, that's a very
That's
difficult one.
very, very, very bad. It puts way too much
Pressure.
like pressure on a female, and one little thing, like if it's not a good move. If it's something you want to take them out on Valentine's Day, then make your feelings known ahead of
Hmm.
time. Get to know them, have a first date prior to that, and then you could take them out on Valentine's Day, but it should not be a first date. Um,
What about the people though that are just dating? They've dated a couple times and they don't even know where they stand on Valentine's Day. And when you were talking about the vacuum, I was thinking, there's one woman out there that's going to be commenting on this. Like, I want a Dyson. Don't tell my husband not to buy me a Dyson. If you're
it,
that woman, put that picture on the fridge and tell
then
him that's
then
exactly what you want. Expectations
then
clear.
make it a red Dyson and write a poem about vacuuming.
That'd be so funny.
Hint, hint, right?
But really, I'm not in the dating scene per se. My husband and I do go on dates and we know where we stand in our relationship. But for the people where, I think it really is stressful is
Yeah.
what is the expectation? How much should I do? How much shouldn't I do? I don't want to scare her off, but I don't want her to make her feel like I don't care at all. And so you might have obviously more
Yeah.
experience in this area
Yeah.
than I do. What do you think if you just started dating someone? What's an appropriate Valentine's Day for, a new relationship?
Yeah. I think the key thing is, if you guys are fairly new, it the opposite, if you go overboard and you start professing your love and doing all these crazy things, you could really scare away somebody because you seem psychotic at that point.
No, no 10-foot teddy bears.
No, honestly, I'm glad you brought that up, because male or female, unless you're 10 years old, stop with the stuffed animals. Like, honestly, I've had that where, they give you a stuffed animal. What am I going to do with this? Like, I don't, I'm not 10. I don't want this garbage in my house. And then you feel bad for like throwing it away because it's like a symbol of your love. Like, don't put them in that, and then, and you're going to say, oh, there's somebody who loves stuffed animals. But
In general.
yeah, in general, just stay away from the stuffed animals. Like, I think that's probably a bad gift, male or female. I don't know too many guys that are like, I'm hoping for the teddy bear. But
Gosh, I'm going to die over
but as
here.
as far as dating, you really got to be cognizant of, even if it's very new, or if it's somebody you like, there's nothing wrong with wishing them a Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day if it's someone you like. If it's someone you went out with, you definitely want to at least do something, to acknowledge the day. Um,
Well, the
again,
the other part is some of the old rules, I guess. I don't even know what the word for it is that I learned and knew as a kid. People don't know. Like I knew that when you sent somebody red roses, that meant you love them. When you sent them pink roses, that meant you liked them. When you sent them yellow roses, that was, they different
I think
colored
that was a
roses. I think that's I
I
don't
think that was
know.
in school to get us to buy flowers. That's the only
No,
time I ever heard
maybe.
that.
I don't know. School does all kinds of things. I just told somebody like my book addiction started with Scholastic. So like, I love that company,
But
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 like
I know like even like everything's roses, roses. But again, like my favorite, I love lilies. So
mhm.
I would prefer if somebody bought me lilies, knowing that I'd be like, oh wow, they're paying attention.
I love to kill plants. It's a gift. It's a gift.
Well,
So any plant that will last longer than 2 weeks, I'm game.
but
I'm on board.
the other thing is too, when you give flowers to somebody, like I've heard mixed reviews. Some women hate getting flowers, some enjoy it. But again, kind of be cognizant of what they like. But if you give flowers, um, at least be smart about it. They should be in a vase with water. The woman shouldn't have to go in her kitchen and start cutting up the stems and doing all this so they don't die while you're out to dinner. So at least be cognizant of that. You could get a flowering plant. At least then it's not something that is going to die in a week. It's something that
Hmm.
would be more of a remembrance for, the two of you and stuff like that. So
I think the key, if you look at the overall theme, is listen to the person, right? I
yeah,
have a friend that hates flowers. You buy her flowers, obviously, I mean, you're just not listening, right?
yeah,
So the key is whether you've been on a couple dates with them or you've married them for 20 years, listen. And some couples have decided we're just not going to do Valentine's Day. They say, well, it's a commercial. And you can do that. I feel like these holidays, some of them are set up because there's a lot of people that are just day to day, grinding, and they're on the hamster wheel. A lot of my clients feel that way. And these holidays are an excuse, I guess, to, do something. So you don't have to discount it completely and be like, oh, it's so commercial. If you've been together a really long time, it could be a great time to just write each other, a love letter or something. It doesn't have to be grandiose, but it's the thought. It really is the thought that counts on this holiday more so than I feel any other holiday. If someone doesn't like something and you give it to them, the first thought in my head is, did you even think about me? Like, that's not what I like.
Yeah.
How, you don't know me at all. So that's where I guess that pressure comes in. And next week, we're going to talk about things like communication and active listening. And it's going to be a great topic before Valentine's Day. So I think it's just really paying attention to what somebody needs. But there's so many different relationships. Like my daughter, my oldest, she's not in a relationship right now. There's people that she likes, and I think they like her, and I have no idea what these guys are going to do for her, because in your 20s, I don't know anymore what people do. But she's like, well, I don't think I'm going to get anything. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't think that's the right answer. Like, then, you have to feel special a little bit. Even something small would be nice. But
Yeah.
how do you, I don't,
I don't
you
know.
don't have to share,
No,
Antoinette, on
I don't mind
your
sharing. I mean,
relationship status right now. But what are your plans for Valentine's Day?
well, I was actually seeing somebody that I just ended it with.
It is a
So,
good, there's a tip, right? If you don't want to
yeah,
celebrate
I took your
Valentine's Day,
tip last week.
you don't want to buy any presents. Just
No, but
end it.
it was, yeah, it just wasn't working. So,
Smart
no.
money move right there. Applaud
Well,
you.
Valentine's still a couple days away, so
Yeah, that's true. You got
I
time.
still got 2 weeks, so
But you
I
just
may have a
told
good.
everybody don't go out on Valentine's Day
No,
if it's
no,
new.
no, no, no. Well, I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, but I've had, different in different dating situations on Valentine's Day. So I've had some awkward ones where I was friends with somebody and it was unique because I had like this family tragedy and they're
Mm.
like, "Oh, Valentine's Day's tomorrow. You want to go out to dinner." In their mind it was a date. In my mind, I'm thinking we're both single and let's just have dinner. So at least be honest about what your intentions are. I think whether it's Valentine's Day or not, if you're asking somebody on a date, they should know it's a
Oh my
date.
gosh.
But
Yes.
that's happened a lot, where they're like, "Oh, let's have something to eat." And I'm thinking like, "Oh, okay, we both just finished something and we're hungry." And then, they're thinking it's one thing, I'm thinking it's another. Um,
I'm channeling my husband's brain right now, and he's probably going to watch this, and he's going to scream at the screen and say, "Listen, Antoinette, if a guy is asking you out to dinner, it's most likely a date." In his mind, it's most likely a date, unless you've known
well,
them for decades. It's most likely they want it to be a date, even if you don't. We are clueless sometimes as to the male intentions.
well, yeah,
So,
I don't know. You get all different types. I mean, I've had others where I think guys are they like me and then I find out they're married and I'm like,
ooh,
uh,
ooh.
yeah.
Definitely do not be thinking about Valentine's Day for multiple situations like
No,
oh.
I mean, to me, that's just like it, the things that came out of their mouth had they been married were very inappropriate. So I was like, no, that's just
Mm,
not cool. But back to Valentine's Day. I think also one of the things that I could see for women is the expectations.
mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times women just have these crazy expectations of what's going to happen, and sometimes if you're so caught up in your expectations, you're not enjoying the moment. You know, you're so busy that, well, this isn't the restaurant I thought we'd go to, or this isn't the this or this. And rather than just enjoying the day that was presented to you, I think you lose the expectations, just enjoy. And then the other thing that I think trips women up is the day after.
Oh,
Because everyone's, oh, well, what you do for Valentine's Day and what
oh,
you do and what you thought was a great date, all of a sudden now, compared to everybody else, it just looks like, the dime store, you know, Valentine's Day, you know? So, this is about you and the person that you're spending it with, and whatever's happening with your friends, neighbors, coworkers, siblings, it really doesn't matter. I mean,
oh.
keep it to what's going on between the two of you in your relationship and a celebration of the love that you both share and something meaningful and personal for both of you.
That list, just like guys probably are out there like, oh my gosh, just really, can you just tell me exactly what to buy? That would be
Yeah,
fantastic.
we
But
could
we
go.
can't. We can't
No,
tell
but we
you.
could go through some like
Yeah, some good
good,
things.
good date, like, I mean, like perfume or cologne. Whether male or female. That's always something if they wear it.
If they
It
wear it,
Yeah,
I don't.
that's always a it's personal.
Again,
It,
you have to know
yeah,
your audience, right? Because here's the thing, the traditional is flowers, card, chocolates, right? And if I were to get flowers, card, chocolate, what does that say? It doesn't make me feel special. It makes me feel that you were obligated to get me something on Valentine's Day. And so you went with flowers, card, and chocolate. And I do want to touch just briefly on kids for Valentine's Day because I think it's really important for the parents out there. What do you do for your kids on Valentine's Day? They are going into school, they're exchanging their cards and their gifts and their candy and all this other stuff. But what about you? Like what's good to do for children? Well, I know if I ask my kids, what did I give you for Valentine's Day when you were 10? They're not going to remember. So don't stress yourself about it. You love your kids every single day, and that's great. And if you want to make it a tiny little special day, that's where you could just make their pancake into a heart or do the cookies in heart shape and make it a really special day for them. And I'm always giving low cost solutions because that's what I do for my clients. But it doesn't have to be something spectacular for them. I have three kids that are older, in the college age kids, and now just a $25 gift card is what. Oh, now if they're watching, they know what they're getting for Valentine's Day. Man, I just blew it.
back
Don't.
to the pancake.
I'm not going to share this one with them. They know they got $25 gift cards last year for Valentine's Day. But even then, I make the gift card specific to each one based on what they like because I want them to know that I'm really thinking about them on that day, even though, they're no longer living in my home anymore, things like that. So the special component, I guess, is really the key.
Yeah.
Try to give somebody and convey the feeling to them that you're listening, you know them. And if you don't know everything about them, ask. I mean, be honest with each other. Say, I'm really stressed about Valentine's Day. It's coming up in 3 weeks. I know it's a new relationship or we've been together for 5 years or whatever. What are some ideas that would make you feel special on the day? Because I really want to make you feel special. And I think just even that conversation would go a long way. I just got goosebumps, like even saying that for
I'm
somebody to say that to you. And that might be opens the door for the conversation where Antoinette, might say, oh, I thought we were just friends.
No, but for me, I'm like I was saying. I always think with guys, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I am more flattered by effort.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of as opposed to what you were saying, like if they're asking me like what should I do, I don't want to tell them what they should do. They should
Mm.
figure that out on their own. Like they
We're going to
have to.
confuse them more now.
Well, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like there's things that you could disguise it in a way, but like I just don't want someone to go, well, what do you want to do for Valentine's Day? Well, I don't know. What do you want to do? Like, and people have that
Oh, of
conversation.
course. Of
you
course.
know, but I mean, even just to go back to like low budget ideas, like
Mm-hmm.
if you're, kind of new or whatever, or you can even make a nice dinner at home for somebody and Or if you're not a cook, order takeout of their favorite thing and then do candles and maybe do a picnic on the living room floor,
Hmm.
something like that. It doesn't require a lot of money to make somebody feel special and make them feel like that not only they're special, but that you make them feel special as
Yeah,
well.
it's really the feeling. And for women, I read something really funny that said, if you never want to be disappointed with your man, lower your expectations, like to the floor. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. But really, you can go back to our previous podcast last week where we talked about, gratitude and creating your own happiness. Now, when somebody gives you something on Valentine's Day, no matter what it is, I don't, if it is the traditional card, candy, flowers, and you're on a diet and you're allergic to the flower they give you and they just sign their name in the card, really you need to take a step back and be appreciative of anything and everything, right? That's going to be where you create your own happiness, because they're not obligated to do this. It's not like paying your taxes or anything like that. They're not obligated, and so they did the best they could. And so if you come with that attitude of gratitude, I think it'll go a really long way to creating an evening. Because if you say, well, I didn't want chocolates, what's going to happen is your significant other is going to feel sad that they didn't get you what you wanted. You're feeling disappointed, and now you've created like a whole evening that could have just been a happy occasion where you spend together and everything like that. It really shouldn't be focused on the gift giving. It should be focused on celebrating that day and every day, and increasing your relationship with that person. So practice gratitude, have an attitude of gratitude for whatever it is you get. And I think that will go a long way. Hopefully, you took my advice and you did the 24-hour challenge. When every time a negative thought came in your head, you popped into a new positive thought. Practice that on Valentine's Day.
But I think also too, like, not only lower expectations, but then also if you're worried about them not knowing you don't like chocolate or knowing this, you can drop hints, I
Hmm.
mean, it you could drop as many hints as you want, like, oh, I just saw the cutest little, whatever bag. I mean, don't be like,
Stuffed animal. I'm
I
just
saw
kidding.
the cutest little Ferrari and and read such a Valentine's Day color. But there's things you could do, and but don't at the same time be upset if they don't get it for you. It's one thing to give people ideas so they get to learn your tastes, and then let them use their own mind and their own imagination to come up with something special for you, and just receive it for what it is, a gift of love or care,
Hmm.
or wherever you are in the relationship. And
What was your, before we close, because we're going to wrap this up soon, what was your favorite Valentine's Day of all time?
oh gosh,
I
that's
mean, I know I
so
gave you
hard.
the salt water one, but I know I remember my husband and it was around Valentine's Day, took me to the beach and there was a full moon and we just sat there and looked at the reflection off the water. It costed nothing and it was such a enjoyable moment.
Yeah. I think I know it probably sounds really weird, but it was very early on, and I started dating somebody, and this was when I was in college, and I went up to visit them, and then we ended up like agreeing to date 2 days before Valentine's Day.
Mm.
And he really went like out of his, he wrote this beautiful poem, and it was just so sweet. It was nice because I flew over 1,000 miles to see him, so it was kind of a big, and I've known him for I'd say like 15 years prior to
Wow.
this, so it wasn't just like, oh, we met, yesterday, but it was, he had a crush on me for like 6 years, and it was all that wrapped up and pent up emotion was just kind of put into making everything special. So, and everything he said and did, and it was just a culmination of, like when somebody's giving you something and doing something and they're so excited, they're actually like shaking.
Mm.
I mean, that I felt in my heart,
And
you
see,
know?
you don't remember if there was an actual like gift. Do you remember the feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't really tell. I mean, I know it was he did a poem, and there was some gift involved, but it was the gift wasn't the main thing. It really was that emotion. So
Well, I think we have to wrap things up. And since this is Chick Chat and Chill, you're all our peeps. So we just want to say thank you for watching and never stop learning.
and never stop laughing. And join us next week because it's going to be all about communication.
Yes.
So we're going to hopefully step up everybody's game and learn some do's and don'ts to make you somebody people want to talk with.
Yes.
Okay. See ya.
Bye.